Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be making a recipe or an experiment. I should have a lab coat today. Where's my lab coat? Just a minute. All right, that's better. So today I'm going to be performing a little experiment that was suggested to me by lovely Hamza Chima, and this experiment involves Ben & Jerry's cookie dough ice cream. The experiment is quite a simple one, but absolutely ingenious. What happens if you take the cookie dough out of this ice cream and bake it? Will it make cookies? And if so, what will they taste like? Simple, right? Absolutely genius-o. So based on my experiments and recipes making homemade edible cookie dough, I'll put the link down below in case you missed that video, I think this should work out fine. But I'm going to take this one step further. So after I've separated the ice cream base from the cookie dough, I'm going to re-churn the ice cream base and see if I can get ice cream again, and then make an ice cream sandwich. So I'm essentially going to deconstruct this ice cream and reconstruct it into something that it was like, but a little bit different. Sounds fun, right? Alrighty, so let's go ahead and do this. So with any recipe that I tackle, I like to do a little bit of research. I discovered way back in 2014, there was an article in the Huffington Post where someone did this very deed of separating the cookie dough from the ice cream and then baking the cookie dough with positive results. But the article did not go into too much depth on the taste and the texture of the cookie. So that's what I'm here to do. In that bit, they talked about separating the ice cream base from the cookie dough by melting the ice cream base. My fear about microwaving this is that I'll actually melt the cookie dough itself and then it could get incorporated into the cookie base. So what I did was I got 2 pints of Ben & Jerry's ice cream and I placed them in the refrigerator overnight to allow the ice cream to kind of melt on its own yet stay cool, because I'm going to re-churn this to make ice cream, so I want the base to be cool. So that's what I've got here. So looks like it's pretty melted and the cookie dough balls are at the bottom. Okay, so it looks like they're balls of cookie dough and bits of chip. What I want to do is preserve the balls of cookie dough because I just want to bake them as they are. And I think I'm going to combine a few of them so that the cookies are a little bit larger, but I do want to bake some tiny ones because I just think that's so funny. And now we're just going to pour this through. Whoa. So when I've done that, I can see about how much in terms of volume of cookie dough in there, and it's about 1/3 of this. And that works out to be maybe about 1/2 cup of cookie dough. So pour that through. Whoa. Not even, maybe a 1/4 cup. But the dough looks to be pretty uniform in size. And let's do our second container. And now I'm going to churn this to remake the ice cream. So I'm going to be using this machine, and this is my great thrift store find. It's a Cuisinart frozen yogurt ice cream and sorbet maker. I found this at the thrift store. If you missed my stretchy ice cream video, which I used this machine to make it, Booza actually, you should definitely check that out. So all kinds of great finds at the thrift store, right? So I think I paid $6 for this. Wonderful. I've got my frozen core here. I'm going to place that right here. I'm going to put this all together. Pour in the ice cream base. And while it's churning, let's go ahead and bake the cookie dough. So here are the cookie dough pieces. I rinsed them off in the sink to remove more of the ice cream base. And now I'm going to kind of pat these dry. Now that we can actually see the cookie dough pieces, it looks like they are of different sizes. They have the large pieces here and then little smaller ones. So I think what I'm going to do is combine the smaller ones together to make a larger ball of cookie dough. These are going to be the tiniest chocolate chip cookies I've ever made. Okay, so here's my little army of cookie dough balls. And what I have left are the small ones. Form this into a ball. And I'm going to separate this into 2. Now we're going to pop this into a preheated 350-degree oven and bake these for, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes because they're so tiny, or until they're kind of golden on the edges and ready to eat. Okay, here Here we go. All 1 hour. 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 1 ho So I'm gonna turn my noisy ice cream maker off, and it has churned beautifully. This is working famously. So excited about this. And now I want this to firm up a little bit firmer, so I'm going to transfer it to this baking pan and put it in the freezer so it's a little bit more scoopable. You can see that indeed it's back to being ice cream. Put that here. And now into the freezer. Cookies. Okay, almost forgot about my cookies. The kitchen is smelling like homemade chocolate chip cookies. It smells lovely. Now, I really don't want these to burn, so I'm gonna go put my attention back at the oven and see how my cookies are doing. All right, let's take this camera over. Whoa. Yep-be-doo, looking good, looking good. I would say one more minute or so. Just until we start seeing some golden color there. Not quite yet. It's smelling good though. Oh, I love it when experiments start to work out. I do. Okay, now, don't get too carried away. How will it taste ice cream? Delicious. This would be a good time to do some cleaning. No eating in the laboratory. Whoops, our cookies are done. So they were in there for about 7 to 8 minutes, and they look pretty stinking cute, and they look like cookies. I'm so excited. So indeed, well, I haven't tasted them, but at least from this appearance, they look like they worked. So excited. So we're gonna let these cool for a bit and let the ice cream set up before we make our ice cream sandwiches and give this delectable experiment a taste. Okay, see you in a little bit. So I just had kind of a funny thought while I was waiting for my cookies to cool. What if you just took, our ice cream base that we've been letting sit up in the freezer and place it back into the Ben & Jerry's container that says chocolate chip cookie dough, but now it has no cookie dough in it. Why not? This is kind of funny, particularly if you have somebody that is a big cookie dough fan and they're just scooping up the ice cream. They're like, what happened? There's no cookie dough in here, none. Why? Go back to the store. Oh, excuse me, I bought this ice cream and it contains no cookie dough. There you go, none the wiser. So I'm gonna place this back in the freezer. I want it to be nice and shallow so it'll set up faster than just like this. Okay, back to the freezer. Meanwhile, I'm going to expedite the cooling process by lifting off the cookies and placing them onto the rack. Wow, that was fast. And based on the sound of it, they're pretty crisp. I want these cookies to be nice and cool before I add the ice cream. Actually, I'm gonna eat one warm because who doesn't love a warm chocolate chip cookie? Chocolate chip cookies are my favorite cookie, by the way. If you're looking for an Emmy fact, there's your answer. Underneath, they're nice and golden. None of them are burnt. They remind me of the cookies that were in Cookie Crisp cereal. Do they still make that cereal? Itadakimasu. A very crisp cookie. Very crisp. But a chocolate chip cookie nonetheless. A very sweet, crunchy chocolate chip cookie. I don't taste too much butter, but I do taste dark chocolate, which I love in a chocolate chip cookie. The texture is very firm. It's kind of similar to a Tate's chocolate chip cookie, which are popular here on the East Coast, but that one is a little bit more of a lighter crunch and has a really strong buttery flavor. And while these taste pretty good, they're not nearly as buttery, but the texture is really different for a chocolate chip cookie. Listen. And in a lot of respects, reminiscent of Cookie Crisp cereal in that way. That cereal, as I remember, had a little bit of a corny flavor, I think, and of course was lighter in texture because it was a cereal. A little bit more like Captain Crunch. Crunchy, yet airy and light, but sweet. A very passable cookie. I mean, would it be something worth doing? Absolutely not. Why would you want to put your ice cream in the refrigerator for 8 hours, allow it to melt, to separate it, and then to wipe them off, then to bake them just to get these cookies, unless you're like me and wearing your husband's shirt as a lab coat because you are a scientist. So the cookies are just fine. Are they the most delicious cookies I've ever had? No, not by any means. Are they pretty good for what they are? Absolutely. Totally bakeable, totally come out as cookies, just a little bit firmer. They're not puffed up, which makes sense. I don't know if there are any eggs in this, and if so, they're probably pasteurized. And by the looks of them, it doesn't seem like they have any leavening. No baking powder, no baking soda. There's no need to because this is cookie dough after all. There's no intention of actually baking these for a fluffy kind of cookie. The crisp texture is a little bit odd, but I think that will be perfect when I put some ice cream inside them and make a little ice cream sandwich. I'm using this tiny, tiny spoon. Talk about portion control. This is genius. Okay, so maybe I'll do this with actual cookie dough that I make rather than taking apart cookie dough ice cream. It's so stinking cute. It's so tiny. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I didn't have to reshape these little balls of dough. These are the original balls of dough that are in the ice cream itself. I just bake them up and they make the perfect 1-inch size little ice cream sandwich. Okay, I'm gonna just pop this in my mouth just as one. Here we go. Itadakimasu. An absolutely reinvented way to eat Ben & Jerry's chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. Delightful. You heard the big, big crunch, which is a great textural contrast to the cold, fluffy, freshly churned ice cream. The ice cream base is essentially a vanilla ice cream base. I don't really taste any of the chocolate chips or the cookie dough in there at all. But since it's freshly churned, it has much more of the texture of soft serve ice cream, which is more airy. But I imagine once this sits in the refrigerator for several hours, it will harden up very much like it was originally. Super, super fun and ridiculous, but there you have it. Chocolate chip cookies that were made from the chocolate chip cookie dough found in Ben & Jerry's chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. It indeed works, and they are actually pretty tasty. And then I went ahead and re-churned the ice cream base. So we have ice cream yet again. So deconstructed, reconstructed chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. Yeah. I love it when a plan comes together. Big thanks to Hamza for suggesting this experiment. If you have any crazy ideas that you would like me to test out or try, let me know down in the comments. I love them. I read them all. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I hope you guys learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. Like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo. Take care. Bye. Hands down the best glasses I've ever had. Best purchase of my life.